To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, sir. Gentlemen, are there any additions or deletions to the agenda?
No, sir.
None.
Is there a motion to approve the minutes from the September 15th public business meeting?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Alrighty, item number 1, this is Mental Health Awareness Week, and we have Lisa Deal from the Allegany County Health Department.
Thank you. I just want to take this moment to say thank you for all of your ongoing support as we work to address mental health and addictions issues in the community. We really appreciate it. This is the 23rd year that we've celebrated Mental Illness Awareness Week. And just to highlight, over the past 23 years, we've seen many changes. Our local service system went from 1 outpatient mental health clinic at the health department and 1 psych rehab program, which was Archway, to 5 outpatient mental health clinics, 4 PRPs, psych rehab programs, crisis beds, and a cadre of private providers. So we have a lot more services than we had 23 years ago. We've also seen tremendous advances in medication and treatment options, shift in focus to person-centered and trauma-informed care, and progress in educating the community that mental illness is just that, an illness. So just like diabetes or high blood pressure, and like those other illnesses, treatment works, recovery is possible, and people can and do manage their illnesses while living full and productive lives. So again, I just want to say thank you, because we couldn't do what we do without your support.
Lisa, thank you for that, because as you know, I serve on the mental health board, so I got to see you the other day. And it's really great to see your dedication and the staff out there. And in touring the jail a couple weeks ago, over half of the prisoner population are on some sort of medicine. They got to have medicine every day. The vast majority are antipsychotic or pills you would take for psychiatric for mental illness. So it ties into everything.
Absolutely. And I mean, in the last 23 years, we've also added a recovery reentry program. So we're working with the detention center as folks are released to try to make sure they don't go back. That's our effort, is to try to keep people in the community and make sure they get the services they need. And I appreciate you coming to our meetings, and sometimes we have lengthy discussions, so I appreciate you being there.
That's right. Well, we have a proclamation. Come on up. Dave's pinch hitting again.
Oh, that's right. I was wondering what he was doing with the camera. We're going to get from a different angle.
It's a better angle. Let's try one more just for safety.
Step back, another step back.
Here, I want him on the phone. Okay. 1, 2, 3.
And the proclamation reads, whereas 1 in 5 adults in America experience a mental illness condition such as depression or eating disorder, and whereas mental health is an important component of overall health, the well-being of all Allegany County residents is enhanced by available and accessible quality mental health care provided by skilled professionals, and we, the Board of County Commissioners, wish to publicly recognize the significant contributions of these professionals and thank them for capably providing for the health care in our community. And this is for the week of October 2nd through October 8th, 2016. And it's signed Creep Brody, Bill Valentine, and Jake Shade.
Thank you very much. You want something else?
More. Yes. As many as we can get. One more. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
Alrighty. Item number 2 is National Adult Education and Family Literacy. Mrs. Deborah Miller.
Good evening. National Adult Education and Family Literacy Week runs from September 26th through October 1st, and we're just here to promote the idea of literacy. There are 36 million adults in the United States who struggle with basic academic skills, which makes it very difficult for them to become employed. In the state of Maryland, over 500,000 adults in Maryland lack a high school diploma. The Adult Education Program, which is a grant-funded program through the Workforce Innovative and Opportunities Act, or WIOA, is funded to help develop a workforce. We are more of a workforce development program than an education-based program. However, we value literacy. It is proven that the amount of education that a parent has directly affects the amount of education that a child will get. Low literacy has an adverse effect on the employability and earnings of Americans, and there is a widening skills gap. Adults without a high school diploma are more than twice as likely to be unemployed, working in low-wage jobs, living in poverty, and relying on government aid programs as those with higher levels of education. In Allegany County, over 300 people regularly visit the Allegany College of Maryland Adult Basic Education. We just went from Allegany County to Allegany College, so I'm still getting used to the new name. We service any individual who tests at skills deficient, which means if you dropped out of high school, you can come and receive free services from Allegany College of Maryland's Adult Basic Education Program. We help individuals earn their Maryland High School diploma through the GED program and the National External Diploma Program. And this week, what we are asking individuals to do is to advocate. Funding for the adult education programs has been static funded since 2002. And in the state of Maryland, approximately 36,000 individuals are on waiting lists here in Maryland. So we are asking the commissioners to use your power to advocate for funding across the state of Maryland and here in your own community. And so I brought with me tonight, through MACE, which is the Maryland Association for Adult, Community, and Continuing Education, green literacy bands. We go green for literacy. That's why I'm wearing my nice bright green every day this week to promote the idea of literacy. You may have seen us in the newspaper. We had a letter to the editor talking about the statistics of reading. Yesterday, we were fortunate enough to take some of our adult education students to the Judy Center at South Penn, where a young man named Raheem read to several 4-year-olds, and it was just wonderful to see this student who lacks a high school diploma, lacks the confidence, and lacks the ability to get a job in Allegany County, interact with these children in such an engaging way. So we ask you to simply advocate as much as possible. I'm not asking for money, although money's always helpful, but I'm asking you to advocate on our behalf with the state legislatures. Thank you.
Great.
Thank you. Thank you.
I have some information I'd like to share.
I think you're coming up for a photo.
I am, yes.
Let's do that. And we do have a letter that we're going to sign and send on your behalf, right?
We're working on it, should have it finished tomorrow.
All righty.
I have some literacy mace,
Thank you.
go green bracelets. Gentlemen, if you'd like to join us.
She wants you to show off your bracelets.
All right. Let me grab the chips here. Got hidden on my shirt already.
It's right before the curtains.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, very
You
good.
guys can do that, that's fine with me, I'll get out of the way.
No, that's a good one. Deborah, get in there, please.
Get in there.
Come on.
Come on, that's, yeah, there we go.
Thanks.
Okay, now look here. 1, 2, 3.
Say above the fold.
Thank you very much.
Very good,
Thank you.
very good. No, I still got all my teeth. I did okay on it.
All righty. Item number 3 is Code Home Rule Bill 5-16. Mr. Bennett.
Good evening. What you have in front of you tonight is Code Home Rule Bill 5-16. It's for LaVale Sanitary District for the Mechanic Street sewer improvements. And tonight is simply the introduction of a bond bill. As you know, they're doing work, and I know Commissioner Brody certainly knows. Lots of work on Mechanic Street sewer. This is part of a USDA project, and it's for $978,000. So tonight is simply introducing the bond bill. It is not county debt, it's actually part of the LaVale Sanitary. The county simply guarantees the debt. So they're taking on the debt. We, since they're a component unit, we do all the legal work for them. We're looking to have a hearing and hopefully vote next week on this. LaVale's under a little bit of a time crunch. We're hoping to get the bond bill complete, effective by November 20th, so they can do interim financing. The project's a couple months underway, is that correct?
Yes, that is correct.
So, tonight's simply introduction. Next week we'll come, have a hearing, and if no comment, we'll hopefully have a vote.
And gentlemen, tonight, even though this does not affect me in any way, shape, or form, but since I am an employee of LaVale, I am not going to vote on this, but I would be more than happy to answer any questions anyone has on this job, so.
Sure. Any discussion?
Much needed project, that's for sure.
Great.
And if you don't mind, one additional thing, LaVale's gotten a super good term on this. Right now, they're looking at 1.375% interest on a USDA loan, so
Yeah.
it's a good deal and all the more reason
Well,
to act
it
quickly.
is for a force main that serves all the LaVale district, Frostburg, and Jennings Run area, so it's a very big project. It's replacing a piece of pipe that is actually failing. It's not failed yet, but it's in the stages of, so it's trying to be hit before it becomes a major issue.
All righty. Well, I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye.
One abstention.
Thanks, Chase. And one abstention.
And one abstain.
There we go. All righty. Item number 4 is a property tax credit. Mr. Rudd.
Yes, we do this every year. You can see in the motion, there's a whole list of organizations in Allegheny County that are essentially nonprofits. The state law authorizes the county to grant tax exemptions or tax credits to tax exemptions to these various organizations. It's done on an annual basis. They've all submitted their letters requesting it. They've been vetted, and it's our recommendation that this be approved.
Any discussion?
No, sir. And I'll make the motion that we adopt item number 4.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Thank you, Mr. Rudd. Item number 5 is a lease agreement on Building 88-1. Mr. Jeff Barclay.
Good evening, Commissioners.
Sir?
Yes, thank you. The county staff has been working with Hetzel Properties LLC for the past few months, trying to find them a home in Allegheny County. We've pitched them several different buildings and properties, and they have approached the county desiring to do a lease agreement with an option to purchase on 88-1, which is in the North Branch Industrial Park. As many of you, if the name Hetzel sounds familiar to you, that's the principal that was named with Pharmaculture, who was one of the named cannabis processors by the Maryland Medical Cannabis Commission. And so with this ask, we're asking then that the Board of Commissioners would authorize the President to execute a lease agreement with the property manager for Pharmaculture, which is Hetzel Properties LLC.
Great. And they'll have room to expand out there and a good location for them.
With this operation, there's really not much more to report on at this time. As you know, there's a lot of different things that have been said about this industry in Maryland and what it's going to take for it all to flesh out.
There's another lawsuit filed today.
And so, since he was named as a processor, he's just looking for that home to start to look towards a phase 2 portion of this. He wants to start, his outlook is, I want to start small. This is perfect for him because it's a 15,000 square foot building. On this site, he can actually, the building was designed to be expanded, so he can double the size of that building from 15 to 30. And then there's an additional 4 to 5 acres as part of this agreement that if anything else should come of this, if he should get a grow or get more licensing, then he can do that there because it's 8 acres in total.
And his purchase price would be $820,000.
Yeah, with any time within the 5 years that he's looking for in this lease, he can exercise the option to purchase for $820,000. Got it. All righty.
Make a motion, we accept this.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Thank you, Commissioners.
Thanks, Jeff.
Thank you, sir.
Item number 6 is a lease agreement, automobile racing at the fairgrounds. Mr. Nedved.
Commissioners, the Board of Commissioners had lease agreements for a number of years for conducting dirt track racing at the fairgrounds, and it ended with the 2015 calendar year. With no lease agreement in place for the current calendar year, Corey McKenzie Autocross has asked to conduct a single exhibition event at the fairgrounds in the period October 1st, 2016 through December 31st, 2016. The date would be worked out between Corey McKenzie Autocross and the fairgrounds director. A lease agreement for this single event covering the single event would need to be signed by the commissioners. But at this time, what I'd like to do is introduce Corey McKenzie, and he can address any questions and explain the situation to you.
Okay. First thing I'd like to do is thank each and every one of you, commissioners. You've been very helpful in accommodating thus far, and the other county employees, Mr. Nedved and Kevin Kumoff, that I've dealt with. You've all been very helpful, and I couldn't ask for more. But what I'm looking to do is run a single exhibition event between October 1st and the end of the year. And I say exhibition event simply because I'd like to get an event going this year to drum up interest and get some media and information back to insurance companies to run an entire schedule next year. So that's what I'm looking to do, is just get an agreement going so that I can run this single event. I want to be clear that this isn't going to be an event that I'm going to advertise for spectators. It's simply going to be one to get some cars out on track and get some feedback and some information.
All righty.
Well, congratulations, sir. We wish you the best luck, because you're putting a good vibe out. There is lots of interest in this behind the scenes. So I'm most certainly hoping you put this exhibition on that you don't mind that if a couple people just show up and watch.
I don't mind that at all.
Creed wants to drive one of the cars with us.
No,
Awesome.
but you do have a lot of interest behind the scenes,
Good.
a lot of people watching. It's all been very positive, so
Good.
we hope it's very good for you.
Great.
Best of
And
luck.
we hope that the press will mention that this will not hinder any stock car racing that may happen out there in the future, since we are talking with a possible promoter right now about that happening too. So they'll work in tandem, they'll work together.
Absolutely. I think we
Bring more
can work
activities
together.
to the fairgrounds.
Yep, and I think it can be good for both of us.
And
Yes.
Corey, I think that the time frame that you're looking at obviously is about 90 days. It's still a very tight window in terms of the weather and whether or not we can get other drivers to participate at this point in time. But it will be a daytime event, correct?
Correct. It will be a daytime event.
All right.
Great.
I
Thank
move we
you.
accept this.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Best of luck. Thank you. All righty, moving to our consent agenda. Mr. Eberly.
Commissioners, today we have 7 items on the consent agenda for possible action. Item number 7 is a motion to reappoint Joe Wilson and Kari Bullimore to the county's Animal Control Board for a period of 2 years. Item 8 is a motion to appoint Patricia Painter to the Adult Guardianship Review Board for a 3-year term. Item number 9 is a motion to accept the 2016-2017 hazmat grant for the county's Department of Emergency Services in the amount of $8,720. This is the county's annual appropriation from the state, which assists the county with much-needed planning and training to respond to potential hazardous material spills and emergencies. Item 10 is a motion to accept the additional state Homeland Security grant in the amount of $216,667 for fiscal 2016 and to modify Budget 1448 accordingly. These funds will be used, Commissioners, to enhance the county's interoperable communication systems and help to update the county's emergency preparedness and response plans. Item number 11 is a motion to authorize the president to execute the application and grant agreement for the 2017 Rental Allowance Program in partnership with HRDC in the amount of $52,492. Item 12 is a motion to award the Braddock Run Sanitary Sewer Rehab Phase 5 project to Mr. Rehab, Inc. from Mechanicsburg, PA in the amount of $396,548.20. As was mentioned earlier this year, this is the final phase of the Braddock Run Rehab Project, which is keeping the county in compliance with the consent decree for its I&I program. Item 13 is a motion to declare surplus and authorize the sale of 12 abandoned vehicles currently under the control of the Allegany County Sheriff's Office.
Sir, a couple of these vehicles may work in Mr. McKenzie's race. So if we can get our attorney to buy a couple of these, I believe he would run an ad.
I will if you will.
So,
I wouldn't take that bet.
yeah, absolutely. I'll make a motion, we accept the consent agenda.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Mr. Eberly.
Commissioners, just ever so briefly, we will be having a public meeting next Thursday. Our agenda items for next week are somewhat limited, but nonetheless, we need to readjust our schedule to accommodate for the fact that this room will be used at the end of the month of October for our election process. So trying to squeeze in 2 meetings in the month of October, we'll schedule a meeting for next week and then again on the 20th of October. And for everyone's edification, our meeting on November the 3rd, Thursday, November the 3rd, will not be held here because of early voting. We will hold that meeting in Mount Savage at the Fire Hall that evening. And thank you, Mayor Williams, for helping us set up the arrangements for that evening. That's all I have, Commissioner.
Great. Mr. Rudd.
I have nothing.
Commissioner Valentine.
It's just been a long, busy day. We had our first meeting of the Education Funding Commission today. 20 people on the commission, so it should be a very interesting year. All yours.
Very good. Well, one thing I am going to report just a little bit on is back in early spring, I asked staff to start looking at a way to start helping with some of our zoning regulations to free us up a little bit and get some of the unuseful stuff off the books and see what we can do to streamline the process and help people get some buildings going. So I've been dealing a little bit with Mr. Rudd back and forth on that. So hopefully towards the end of November, first part of December, we can have a work session, Dave, that you can get us in on and see where we stand so far and where the staff stands and where we can get have something ready for in January's agenda to clean everything up.
Absolutely.
So, and with that being said, one thing I always get to do, it makes me happy, is I get to introduce people that's in the audience here. So tonight, Mark Widmeyer, thank you, from the governor's office that's here. And we also have former Sheriff Gary Simpson. It's good to see you, sir, here. And Laura Lee and Bob, it's very nice to have you here. So with that being said, sir.
Great. Thank you, Creed. Not much tonight. October 1, new laws go into effect, including our incentive program that we're rolling out towards smaller businesses, especially in the tech field. So employees number 3 through 10, it's a $3,000 credit for them, and up to 25, it's $2,000 coming out of our economic development fund. So we hope to see that used in the coming months, and that'll officially go into effect October 1 Sunday. Is there anyone signed up?
No.
All right. With that,
President,
Yes, sir.
may I address the group?
you may.
I don't know how many years I've been coming here, but I see 2 flags up there that are improperly displayed. If you would want to purchase the tops for those 2 flags, then send me the bill, I'll buy them.
They get the spears on top of them, Jake.
The one on the far right, the Allegany had a spear on it, it's disappeared, I don't know where.
I think somebody borrowed our flag and
They didn't return
transport.
the.
We didn't get it all back intact. But thank you for the observation,
If
though.
the proper spears, I would be more than happy.
All righty.
Governor.
Thank you.
Oh, boy, that's right.
The governor, basically.
Send Bill to 100 State Circle, Annapolis, Maryland. Attention, Larry Hogan.
Send the bill to 113 Butler Drive.
There we go.
We'll just hand deliver it because we know where you live, sir, so.
All righty. Our next public business meeting is next Thursday, October 6th, this room, 5 o'clock. Thank you.
Thank you.